Here's something most cat owners never realize is happening. The moment your cat fully, finally, irreversibly trusted you, there was a specific thing they did right before it happened. A threshold behavior. A last test, run quietly and unconsciously, before something shifted permanently in how their nervous system relates to you. You probably didn't notice it. Most owners don't. It doesn't look dramatic. It doesn't announce itself. It looks like an ordinary moment in an ordinary day with your cat. But here's the thing. Once you know what to look for, once you understand what this behavior actually is and why it marks the exact boundary between "I'm still deciding about you" and "you are mine permanently," you'll be watching for it in every interaction you have from this point forward. And when you finally see it happen, you'll know exactly what just changed. 1. What science says about the trust threshold. Let's start with the research, because this is where it gets really interesting. A landmark 2019 study published in Current Biology, one of the most rigorous feline attachment studies ever conducted, found that approximately 65% of cats display what researchers classify as secure attachment to their primary caregiver. This mirrors almost exactly the attachment distribution seen in human infants, 65% secure, 35% insecure, and it means something specific. Securely attached cats use their person as what behavioral scientists call a secure base. They explore from you. They return to you when threatened. They regulate their emotional state using your presence as the anchor. Now here's what the research doesn't tell you, what the gap between the data and daily life looks like. Secure attachment doesn't flip on like a switch. It builds. Incrementally. Through accumulated data points, your cat is continuously running, evaluating every interaction, every response, every moment where you either confirmed or failed to confirm that you are reliable, consistent, and safe. And then, at some point along that accumulation, something tips. The assessment closes. The conclusion becomes permanent. And your cat's behavior shifts in a way that, once you know to look for it, is unmistakable. 2. The behavior itself. Here's what most owners miss entirely, and it's sitting right in front of them every day. The last thing a cat does before fully, permanently trusting someone is this. They initiate contact during their own most vulnerable moment, without any external trigger, and then fall asleep. Not napping nearby. Not resting in the same room. Actively seeking you out, walking toward you with specific intention, making contact, and then surrendering into deep sleep against you, or beside you while you're still present and active in the environment. Here's why this specific sequence matters so much. A cat who is still in the evaluation phase of trust, still running the assessment, still deciding, will rest near you but not fully. They maintain a partial vigilance. One ear still rotating. Eyes not fully closed for any extended period. Body positioned for a quick exit if needed. The nervous system is resting but not fully committed. The cat who has crossed the threshold does something categorically different. They initiate, they come to you, rather than simply tolerating your proximity. They make contact, physical, deliberate, chosen. And then they surrender completely into deep sleep, in your presence, with no protective posture maintained. Sleep researchers studying feline behavior describe this as social sleeping, a behavior that in wild and feral cat populations occurs only between members of a bonded social group. Cats do not sleep vulnerably beside beings they have not fully assessed as safe. The surrender of consciousness is the final and most profound trust signal available in their behavioral vocabulary. When your cat walks toward you in a quiet moment, settles against you, and falls into deep sleep, not napping, but genuinely, deeply, eyes fully closed, body completely loose sleep, something has been decided. You have been categorized permanently and unconsciously as the safe place, the secure base, the being beside whom full surrender is possible. 3. What changes after the threshold? Almost nobody talks about what actually shifts after this moment, and the shift is measurable. Research on securely attached cats shows consistent behavioral patterns that distinguish them from cats who haven't crossed this threshold. They vocalize differently with their person, more varied, more personalized, more communicative, than with strangers or with people they merely tolerate. They seek proximity after stressful events specifically from their person, not from whoever is nearest. They show what the Oregon State attachment studies call reunion behavior, a specific, observable increase in affiliation after separation that mirrors the reunion behavior documented in securely attached human infants. In practical terms, after the trust threshold is crossed, your cat's behavior toward you becomes qualitatively different from their behavior toward anyone else in the household. The vocalizations become more specific to you. The contact becomes more initiated, less passive. The seeking of your presence, your location, your attention becomes more consistent and more obviously deliberate. This is not your cat becoming dependent. It is your cat, having completed the full evaluation, allocating to you the behavioral patterns their biology reserves for the innermost circle of their social world. Actionable takeaways. Watch for the initiated sleep. Not the cat who dozed off after you sat near them, the cat who specifically walked to where you are, made contact, and then fell into real, deep, loose-bodied sleep. That sequence is the signal. If your cat hasn't reached this threshold yet, the path there is not complicated, but it requires patience. Consistency over time. Respected boundaries. Interactions that always end on the cat's terms, not yours. Presence without demand. The assessment they're running has specific inputs, and every positive interaction adds to the accumulating conclusion that you are safe. And if you've already seen this happen, if your cat already initiates sleep against you regularly, understand what that actually means. It's not habit. It's not convenience. It is the behavioral output of a nervous system that completed its full evaluation of you and arrived at a permanent conclusion. Here's the truth that makes this the most significant moment in your relationship with your cat. The trust threshold is not something you can ask for. It's not something you can perform or engineer or rush. It arrives on your cat's timeline, in your cat's terms, when their nervous system has accumulated enough evidence to close the case. What you can do is make the evidence consistently good. Show up the same way every day. Respond to them gently. Honor what they show you. And then wait. Because the morning your cat walks across the room specifically to you, settles against you, and falls deeply asleep, that's not just a sweet moment. That's the verdict. Do you remember the moment you felt like your cat had finally, fully decided about you? Tell me what it looked like in the comments. Was it a specific day, a specific behavior, or something that built so gradually you almost missed it? I read every single one. If you made it this far, you understand something most people never will. Cats aren't just pets. They're complex, emotional, intelligent beings. Tap the video on your screen to keep learning the secret language of cats. And subscribe to Cat Class, because understanding your cat changes everything.